It's week 13 in the NFL. The Fantasy Sultans are here. It is a short week, so we
Yeah,
have to get a lot going. Of course, this podcast dropping on Wednesdays instead of the usual Thursdays because we got three games on Thursday, one game on Friday, and then we've got games on Sunday, and of course, Monday night, who we really don't care about. No, I can't. I can't say that. That's not fair. He's the Hall of Famer Mike Sheck. I am Tripp Rogers, and we're happy you joined us here on the Fantasy Sultans because do you hear that? Do you hear that? There's a thunder. I
yeah.
hear a thunder in the distance. It's like a horse race coming round the far turn and down the stretch they come.
That's right. At the
All we
quarter
need now,
pole.
all we need now is Mike Tirico saying, "Here come the Sultans." So, lo and behold, we have been making fun and making jokes about Mike's futility in the Sultans League, and I was doing pretty good for a while there, but well, not lately. However, took a look at things this week. The Sultans are on a
hmm
roll. The
Yeah.
Sultans could roll into the playoff. And you know what that means? Revenge. Revenge. Yes, I'm talking to you, Mac. I'm talking to Brittany and Anthony. I'm talking to Johnny I. We're coming for you. And the best part of all, we would meet until the championship game. And that's where we're going to meet because we are going to win our own league this year. Finally. I'm feeling good about it. I'm
Yeah, we're
feeling
feeling good.
good. I'm
Yeah.
feeling good.
The
We're
playoff
peaking at the
push.
right time.
That's right. This is the
Playoff
time to do
hunt.
it. This is the
We got
time
we
to do
got
it.
it.
Yep. That's right. The momentum's gaining.
Yeah, we are. We are. I mean, I'm still rolling those other two ESPN leagues, although I had an awful week. The one team was just awful, but and we'll get into let's get into I guess we'll go to week 12. Recap. Again, injuries were a key. Very poor fantasy performances, I think, the story of this week. There were some surprises. I mean, I won't get that, won't be wrong on that. But there were some real clunkers, and you
hmm
can't afford a clunker as you head down to the stretch in the fantasy season because the playoffs dawn. Again, week 13 means in most leagues you are 1 week away from the playoffs. Some leagues go to playoffs in week 14, but most leagues it's after week 14, it's week 15. So, Mike, your thoughts on week number 12?
Well, Jameer Gibbs, far from a clunker. You and I, Tripp, were talking last Sunday back and forth texting. I said Jameer Gibbs is money. And if you drafted Gibbs this year and last year, too, by the way, you drafted him. I drafted him this year. He's been spectacular. Over
Yes.
55 fantasy points against the New York Giants. We talk about the dynamic duo Sonic and Knuckles for that Detroit offense. Sonic has been showing off in a big way this season. David Montgomery has been making some appearances here and there, but it's been all about Sonic. As we continue in the NFC North for those two players, I want to talk about running back Emmanuel Wilson. He shined without Josh Jacobs for the Green Bay Packers, rushed for over 100 yards and scored twice in a decisive victory. And we'll see Green Bay and Detroit. Boy, that's going to be a good matchup on Thanksgiving Day. Talk about an appetizer to the main course. And then Chicago's DJ Moore, he becomes relevant again. He found the end zone twice in the Bears' victory over the Steelers. Moore had only scored once in the previous 11 weeks of the season. And another wide receiver lighting it up, JSN in Seattle. He's been getting the job done. 10 targets, 8 catches, 167 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It's now 7 straight with 20 or more fantasy points for JSN.
Listen, and we go. Let's go to flip side though. Concerns over first off Baker Mayfield, who has
Yeah.
been money. Mayfield's shoulder injury, although it's his non-throwing shoulder, and they're saying he should be okay. I mean, this is Baker Mayfield we're talking about. He's a tough guy. So I think it's good. Lamar Jackson's performance has really been a head scratcher because since he's come back from injury, he really has not. I mean, he's been disappointing. And I again, Part of it is I think it mirrors the Ravens' season so far this year because they're not doing the job.
Yeah, no, they have definitely not been doing the job. But I'll tell you what, I mean, you talk about the Ravens. They're a team that started slow and Lamar's injury, and now they're pushing their way back in the AFC North. So a team with a fighting chance, maybe the Ravens.
Oh, okay. I guess, but Lamar still as if you have him, you have to be concerned because he
Oh
really
yeah, without a doubt.
did not do well last couple of weeks. Giants play Monday night against New England. Jackson Dart could be back, and that could be a welcome sight for teams that are struggling, who got Dart early, who made the move and got him and have benefited because his performance has been stellar, but he's been out the last 2 weeks with concussion protocol. Now, the Monday night game gives him an extra day if he needs it, but I got a funny feeling he'll come off the concussion protocol. And as you know, we talk about the New York Football Giants. They fired Shane Bowen, their defensive coordinator. I'm not shocked. I'm not stunned. But listen, you want to talk about Jackson Dart. How about the performance the last two games of his replacement at quarterback? I mean, this guy was left for dead on that roster. He was number 3 for the first half of the season. And then finally, he gets to show what he did. And how about that flea flicker play?
Oh yeah,
That was the thing of beauty, man. Really
and
was.
him hauling off a defender. That's right.
I mean, but that's what he does.
Yeah.
That's what he is. You know, he's a guy you want on your team. And there's no, I don't think it was a mistake the Giants signed him for 2 years. I think they want him there next year. And he'll be the backup, but he's a guy you want. And again, you know, I mean, the rest of the and you know, listen, we talk about the Giants, Wan'Dale Robinson. I mean, he had a great game. I mean, if you had him, you had a nice benefit this week in terms of fantasy football. But it is all about week 13. And again, you know, we can't emphasize this enough. 3 games on Thursday, a game on Friday afternoon. You need to make sure your lineups are set. You need to make sure your roster changes are in. And remember, waivers will go through on Wednesday. So by the time this podcast drops, waivers will have gone through. So if you need to go and grab somebody, you should be able to get them and not have to wait anything, unless your league has a rule that you got to wait a day or two on waivers. And that could be a problem if you're trying to get somebody who plays either Thursday or Friday. But let us move on. Michael, you do the honors. Import Exports Week 13.
You probably will have no problem getting this guy. I'm going to start with a player who's giving Arizona some life, Jacoby Brissett. Now, the Cardinals quarterback set a record for NFL completions in a game in Week 11. He threw for over 452 yards against San Francisco, followed up that performance with over 300 yards, 1 touchdown, and 18 fantasy points. He's now scored 18 plus in 5 starts, including 3 games with more than 20 points. Arizona plays Tampa Bay this week, and I get the feeling that this could be the making of a back-and-forth slugfest. If Baker Mayfield plays, I would want to import Brissett. Next up, as in next man up, Devin Neal, running back for the New Orleans Saints. Now, it really is next man up, as Alvin Kamara suffered a knee injury. He was unable to return against the Falcons last week. Neal would be the next man up as the new number 1 back if Kamara was unable to play this week. The Saints coaching staff, high hopes for this guy. He had 5 catches for 11 fantasy points in the team's loss. If not a stash, he's a pickup and play. All right, you're looking for a tight end. How about Brenton Strange of Jacksonville? He was putting up nice numbers earlier in the season before injury struck. 3 of the first 4 games, double-digit fantasy points. He then returned to action last week and led the Jaguars with 93 receiving yards. Trevor Lawrence has always trusted his tight ends, and he likes to feed them the ball. So people are strange. Could be a hot pickup this week. Faces come out of the rain when you're strange. All right, let's go to the exports. And Tampa Bay quarterback Baker Mayfield, you know, we talked about him. He is on the injury list. Sprained his left non-throwing shoulder in Sunday night's loss to Los Angeles. Injury is an AC joint injury. Teddy Bridgewater took over in the second half. Could start this week against the Cardinals if he's unable to go. Even if he plays, I don't really feel comfortable starting an injured quarterback, so I'd send him to the bench. Another player you want to get rid of, Joe Mixon in Houston. It appears he's done for the season. He was nursing a foot injury, which started in the offseason. It's going to stay on the players to unable to perform list. Um, Look, Nick Chubb, Woody Marks, they're going to be the guys moving forward. Owners, they may have been stashing Mixon. I think you can confidently send him to waivers. And another player I think you could also send to waivers, Tennessee wide receiver Calvin Ridley. He's done for the season with a leg injury. Ridley broke his fibula in a loss against Houston. He's out for the remainder of the season. Ridley, I think, is a huge disappointment, finishing with just 300 yards, 43 yards per game, and no touchdowns. Perhaps he makes the airing of the grievances in less than a month.
I agree.
I think he's on my list. Yeah.
There you go. All right. I'm going to go with export first, and then I'll go imports, because I usually do that. And you're talking about players that really have not performed, and we're going once again to the Tampa Bay Bucks. And I'll mention at this point, Emeka Nkuba, he's not done that well over the last few weeks, and he was the guy everybody was talking about. But Chris Godwin, what a huge disappointment this year. You know, we knew there was going to be a time that before he got on the field, but he was not good. And getting him back healthy is not going to happen. I think at this point, you might want to drop Chris Godwin. I am considering it. I mean, I've had a couple of waiver claims that didn't go, and I had him on there. 9 yards on 4 targets and 2 receptions in week 12. Not good. So I think that's one that I'm looking to exit stage left. Now let's exit stage right, and we'll do the imports. And I got a couple guys I think who can help you, and I think you will want them. First of all, let's go to Cincinnati, the Bengals. Now, listen, the Bengals have had a rough season. It looks like they're gonna get Joe Burrow back. That's a good thing. T. Higgins gonna be out, already ruled out because of a concussion. That means Andre Oshivas is going to be the number 2 receiver against the Ravens behind Jamar Chase. Now, last week, he had 7 targets in the game that Higgins left early. He isn't a good bet to lead in targets with Chase back, but he's going to see some similar playing time. Look at him as maybe a wide receiver 4 flex option in deeper leagues for week 13. And, of course, obviously the question is going to be Higgins' health is whether or not you keep him, but Andre Oshivas could help you in the wide receiver ranks. Another wide receiver who could help you is Greg Dortch from Arizona. And you mentioned Jacoby Brissett, who has kind of revitalized this team to a certain extent. Marvin Harrison out now a second game last week. Dortch more involved. Now, Harrison is tentatively due back this week. We'll see what happens this week. If Harrison misses another game, look, Dortch had 12 catches, 119 yards, and 2 TDs in the games that Harrison has missed. But even if he returns, still going to be involved at number 3 offense. It's the league's most pass-heavy offense since Jacoby Brissett stepped in at quarterback. Week 13, Tampa Bay helps the passing upside. The Rams and Texans following are tougher passing matchups on the other side of that. Mike Gesicki for the Cincinnati Bengals, another Bengal on my import list. Gesicki turned from a week 6 injury, 4 catches, 35 yards against New England week 12. Again, no Jamar Chase. T. Higgins left early. But week 13 coincides with the turn of Joe Burrow. It looks like there could be some injured defenders on the Ravens side of the ball. Gesicki at this point is a deep league spot starter, but listen, if you need a tight end, you could do worse, and I don't think you will if you go with Mike Gesicki. And those are my import exports for week number 13. And we should have mentioned, I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the show, but I may not have. So if I didn't, I will do it now. Week 13, no buys. Everybody's playing this week. The last of the buys will come next week. Week 14, and one of those teams on bye is the New York Giants. I fully expect to see at least 3 memes with the Giants losing to the bye week.
Tripp, we do a little something different here at this time. Of course, Thanksgiving
Yes.
upcoming, and millions of Americans are getting ready to prepare their menu for the big day on Thanksgiving. While it's no surprise that turkey is the main course for the event, some Americans think the side dishes are the ones that rule. Stuffing, mashed potatoes, roasted vegetables. Survey of Americans, though, were asked their least favorite Thanksgiving dish. Among 27% of adults said cranberry sauce. Now, Tripp, I like my cranberry sauce jellied, not whole. I am a fan of the cranberry sauce. I think the texture is a little bit different compared to the whole cranberries. I actually do prefer the jellied kind.
Oh yeah, I'm there.
Um,
Import cranberry sauce.
yeah, we're going to import that.
Big
We're going to
import.
import that. Yeah, who could go wrong if you're going to have a leftover Thanksgiving sandwich the next day or two? You know, turkey, cranberry stuffing on a sandwich, rye bread,
Gravy. Gotta
Italian
have the
bread,
gravy.
gravy. Yeah,
Hey, did you
sounds good.
hear that Heinz is going to sell
Yes, gravy in the bot in
gravy
the
in a bottle?
squeeze. Yes. Yep.
Go. There you go. Oh, man, we're on the same wavelength. Yes, I knew we were going to do import exports for the Thanksgiving meal.
Runner up for least favorite, right behind that at 25%, green bean casserole. I'm going to disagree with that one.
Not
Cream,
again.
cream of
Import
mushroom
green
soup.
bean casserole,
Yeah,
baby. Love
yeah.
it.
Crispy onions. Who
Oh,
can go
God,
wrong with
I
green
love
beans?
it. That's
I love
great.
it. Rich and
No
hearty.
export on that.
23% say roasted autumn vegetables. I think I'll go with that one because I am not a butternut squash fan. So
Oh,
I will
we can
go with
export.
that.
Yeah, we can export that. Yeah,
And
I
pecan
definitely
pie
think
is also on that list, and I'm not a pecan pie guy either. So
I'm okay with pecan pie, but again, if you're going to import desserts, I mean, you got to go. You can't go wrong with pumpkin pie, which
no,
is a favorite, and you also can't go wrong with cheesecake, which
yeah.
is what is going to be on the dinner table at the Rogers household this year. We'll be importing those as we sit back and get the stretchy pants out and watch. I mean, listen, Thanksgiving, you got some great football. I mean, listen, there's some great football games on. I mean, you've got the Packers and the Lions. I mean,
Right.
does it get any better than that? And then you got the Cowboys and the Chiefs. Does it get any better than that? And then
That's
you
right.
got the Bengals and the Ravens, and that's a primetime game. And then Friday afternoon, after you've shopped till you drop on Black Friday, you've got the Bears and the Eagles. Well, it's
Yep.
going to be a good game. Of course, we get Al and Kirk, so I'm happy with that. You know, that'll be a good time. And then Sunday we have the normal fare. I mean, it's kind of funny because Thanksgiving, and of course you got all the college games too. Let's not forget. I mean, Georgia Tech is a huge game down here in Georgia because everybody's either a Georgia fan or a Tech fan, and that's a huge game. You've got a lot of the rivalry games because this is the last Michigan, Ohio State. How did I forget that? I'm sorry. Shoot me. But again, you're getting ready for the college football championship games, which will be first weekend in December. So it's a big weekend of football, no matter how you slice it.
I do want to ask you, as a Giant fan, you are having that turkey at 4:30, right, during that Dallas game. You
Oh
won't
my
be watching.
God! Of
You'll be
course,
eating the turkey then.
of course, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
listen. You know what's the shirt? My two favorite teams, the New York Giants. Whoever's playing Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you know, you were talking, Mike, real quick, and you mentioned that 4:30 game. You talk about teams it seem like they're coming back. The Chiefs it's look like
Yeah.
they are finally heading in the right direction, although it could be too little too late. But and Travis Kelce, for as down as we were on him in terms of fantasy this year, he's been pretty rock solid if you're a fantasy football player. Mahomes, not so much, but I think you can say that Travis Kelce has not lost a step. And again, he's now saying he might come back next year. Although I can't see it. I can't see it if he's going to get married over the summer. Because, I mean, that's going to be such a distraction. You know what I mean? And Andy Reid is not about distractions. And I think Travis Kelce's not about distractions too. But, hey, we're about distractions. We're distracting everybody because, listen, the Sultans are coming Here we come.
And your
Get
daughter
ready.
just added 5 more counseling patients to her list.
There you go.
We forgot to
mention that.
Yeah.
So Stephanie has offered to the anyone who listens to the Fantasy Sultans a trauma counseling session. If you listen to the Fantasy Sultans. So I was told to pass that along. Stephanie, our guest last week. And she plays Big Daddy next week. That's the final game of the year. Big Daddy for the playoffs, for the playoff push, the big game. Well, you got Ben this week.
Yeah.
And Ben's had a nice season too.
Yeah.
You know, Ben's tough. Johnny I's in second. Brittany and Anthony are in third. And Mac is in fourth, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head, or fourth or fifth. But it won't matter because Mac is going to find himself on the outside looking in when we swoop in to make the playoffs. We make the run and make the playoffs because you're listening to this, so you're hearing us. We're the Sultans. We help you get to where you want to go. The ultimate goal is the playoffs. This is what we live for. It's week 13 in the NFL. He's the Hall of Famer Mike Sheck. I am Tripp Rogers, and you're not. And we're here to help you. Again, we'll be back on our normal schedule. We'll have the podcast Thursday morning at 9 o'clock next week. But until then, remember, we're here to help you. Make sure you check your lineups because you got games Thursday, games Friday. We are the Fantasy Sultans.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. And you are not.